If I suddenly had some minutes to speak to the whole world, all I would say is a lot can happen in a year. Your life will not be the same a year from now, no matter what. There's simply nothing you can do about it. But how your life has changed a year from now is up to you. You see, you have two options in your life. And whether you like it or not, you're choosing one of these options every single day. And that's option one is the easy and safe option of staying exactly where you are. Option two is the uncomfortable choice of making a change. The reason you're here right now is probably because you've been choosing option one for too long. And I hate to break it to you, but there's not a single self-improvement book, podcast, or motivational quote that can do the actual work for you. As long as you keep being the audience of change, the only thing changing will be the entertainment. You need to change how you see things in order for the things you see to change. So this simple mathematical fact will forever change how you view working on your goals. If you just focus on becoming 1% better every day for a year, you will end up 37 times better than you were when you started. 37 times. All it takes is for you to improve just 1% every day. The best part, every day it gets a little easier. But you got to do it every day. That's the hard part. The reason you're quitting or not even starting is because the wall you're trying to climb is too damn high. You're not focusing on just 1% daily improvement. You're focusing on all 100% at the same time. While taking the first step might be crucial, continuing to take small steps every single day is even more important because you simply cannot fail if you just keep trying. So what if you started working on your dream today? What if you took that first step and then kept showing up for yourself? Because it's never too late to make a change. It's never too late to show up for yourself. You might not be able to go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are right now and change the ending. Let me tell you something fascinating about your brain. Right now, as I speak these words, your neurons are firing in specific patterns, creating what scientists call neural pathways. These pathways are like highways in your brain. And here's the amazing part. Every time you think a thought, you're either strengthening an existing highway or building a new one. Think about your morning routine. You wake up. And without even thinking, you might reach for your phone, check social media, feel a certain way about what you see, and react in predictable patterns. That's not just habit, that's your brain running on autopilot, following the same neural highways it's been using for years. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you decide to change a pattern, let's say instead of reaching for your phone, you sit in silence for 5 minutes, your brain actually starts creating new neural connections. At first, it feels uncomfortable, even wrong. Why? Because your brain is literally carving out new neural pathways through unexplored territory. The science behind this is remarkable. Every time you make a conscious choice to do something different, your brain releases different neurotransmitters. Instead of the usual cocktail of chemicals that keep you stuck in old patterns, you start producing new combinations that support change. It's like switching from running on gasoline to running on electricity. Same car, completely different fuel system. Let me give you a practical example. Think about someone who's always worried about money. Every time they check their bank account, pay a bill, or make a purchase, their brain automatically triggers stress chemicals, cortisol, adrenaline. This creates a feedback loop. Stress about money leads to more stress about money. But when they consciously choose to pause before reacting, to look at their finances with curiosity instead of fear, they're literally rewiring their brain's response to money. The biochemistry of change is happening in your body right now. Every cell is listening to your thoughts, responding to your emotions. When you stay in the same emotional patterns day after day, your cells become addicted to those emotional states. That's why change feels so hard. You're not just fighting mental habits, you're fighting cellular addiction to familiar emotional states. But here's the beautiful truth. Your body knows how to change. It's designed for adaptation. Every night when you sleep, your body repairs and rebuilds itself. Every time you learn something new, your brain creates new connections. Every time you choose a different response to an old trigger, you're breaking the addiction to the past. Think about learning to drive a car. Remember how overwhelming it felt at first? You had to consciously think about every single action, check mirrors, signal, brake, accelerate. Now you do it automatically. That's the power of neural pathways. You created new patterns in your brain through consistent practice. The same principle applies to any change you want to make in your life. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. That's why visualization is so powerful. When you consistently imagine yourself responding differently to situations, handling challenges with grace, or achieving your goals, your brain starts building the neural pathways to support those new patterns. You're literally rewiring your brain for success before you even take action in the physical world. The science is clear. Change is not just possible, it's natural. Your brain is changing right now as you listen to these words. The question is, are you consciously directing that change, or are you letting old patterns run the show? You know those thoughts that keep playing in your head like a broken record? I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. I can't do it. These aren't just random thoughts. They're patterns you've been rehearsing for years, maybe decades. Every time you repeat these thoughts, you're reinforcing neural networks that keep you stuck in the same story. Let's get real about your past experiences. They're not just memories. They become programs running in your subconscious mind. When something happened that hurt you, disappointed you, or scared you, your brain created a survival mechanism. It's like your brain said, I'll remember this so it never happens again. But here's the thing, that protective mechanism doesn't know the difference between then and now. It keeps running the same program even when the threat is long gone. Think about a kid who got laughed at when they spoke up in class. 20 years later, they're still feeling that same fear in business meetings. Their body is producing the same stress chemicals, the same emotional response, even though they're no longer that vulnerable child. That's not their limitation. That's just an old program running on autopilot. But here's where it gets exciting. Every time you become aware of these patterns, you create a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap lies your power to choose differently. When you notice yourself falling into an old pattern and consciously choose a different response, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're telling your body, we don't need to run that old program anymore. We're creating something new. So small decisions compound into massive changes. It's like compound interest for your personal growth. When you choose to pause before reacting with anger, that's creating a new neural pathway. When you choose to take action despite fear, that's strengthening new connections in your brain. When you choose to believe in possibility instead of limitation, that's rewiring your neural networks. These small decisions might not feel significant in the moment. You might think, how can pausing for 5 seconds before responding to that email really change anything? But that's exactly how transformation happens. Every time you make a conscious choice that's different from your automatic response, you're building new neural highways. It's like laying down one brick at a time. Eventually, you'll have built an entirely new road. Your brain is constantly looking for evidence to support what you believe. If you believe you can't do something, your brain will find all the reasons why that's true. But when you start making different choices, taking different actions, your brain starts collecting evidence for your new story. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but this time it's working in your favor. The power to break through these self-imposed limitations isn't in some grand gesture or momentous decision. It's in the small choices you make moment by moment, day by day. It's in catching yourself when you start to spiral into old patterns and choosing a different thought, a different emotion, a different response. Let's talk about something that's happening right now, your breathing. Most people take around 200 breaths every day, but how many of those breaths do they actually notice? This simple act of bringing awareness to your breath demonstrates the incredible power of present moment awareness. It's in this awareness that true transformation begins. You and embody are in constant communication. Every thought triggers a cascade of chemical reactions in your body. When you're lost in thoughts about the past or worried about the future, your body responds as if those events are happening right now. Your heart rate changes, your muscles tense, your hormones fluctuate. Think about the last time you were caught up in anxiety about something that might happen. Your body didn't wait to see if that thing actually happened. It started producing stress chemicals immediately. That's because your body can't tell the difference between what's happening now and what you're thinking about. It responds to your thoughts as if they're reality. But here's the game-changing truth. You can break these automatic programs through present moment awareness. When you bring your attention fully into the now, something remarkable happens. Those automatic programs that have been running your life start to lose their power. It's like shining a light on a shadow. The shadow can't exist in the presence of light. The science of consciousness shows us that when you're fully present, your brain starts operating differently. Instead of being caught in the same old neural networks, you start activating new parts of your brain. Your frontal lobe, the part responsible for conscious decision-making, becomes more engaged. You shift from reactive to responsive, from automatic to intentional. Let me explain how this creates new possibilities. When you're running on automatic, your brain is basically predicting the future based on the past. It's saying, this is how things always go, so this is how they'll go this time. But when you're present, you interrupt that predictive pattern. You create space for something new to emerge. Every single moment is pregnant with infinite possibilities, but you can only access these possibilities when you're present. When you're caught up in old programs, you're literally blind to the opportunities around you. It's like wearing glasses with the wrong prescription. Everything looks blurry and distorted. The science of consciousness tells us something fascinating. Your observation of reality actually influences reality. Quantum physics has shown that particles behave differently when they're being observed. Think about what this means for your life. When you bring conscious awareness to your patterns, your relationships, your habits, you're not just observing them, you're actually changing them. This isn't just theoretical, it's practical and powerful. When you catch yourself in an old pattern and bring awareness to it, you're actually changing the neural networks in your brain. When you notice tension in your body and consciously release it, you're changing your body's chemistry. When you observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them, you're creating new possibilities for how to respond. Present moment awareness is like a superpower that's always available to you. It doesn't require any special equipment or circumstances. All it requires is your attention. And every time you choose to be present, you're strengthening this ability. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The most incredible part is that this awareness is always with you. No matter what's happening in your external world, you always have access to this internal power. It's your gateway to creating new possibilities, to breaking free from old patterns, to experiencing life in a completely new way. Let me share something powerful about your brain's ability to change. You might have heard about neuroplasticity, but what you might not know is that your brain is changing right now, in this moment. Every time you repeat a thought, an action, or a feeling, you're either strengthening existing neural pathways or creating new ones. It's like walking through a field of tall grass. The more you walk the same path, the more defined that path becomes. Memory becomes blank. The universe is in full connection. If you take the time to write this before bed, what happens? That new focus becomes existing in the moment. But here's what makes this truly extraordinary. You can consciously direct this process. When you understand that your brain is always changing, you can start to be deliberate about how it changes. Think about this. If you're going to create paths in that field anyway, why not create the ones that lead where you want to go? Consistency is absolutely crucial in this process. Your brain operates on a use it or lose it principle. It's like learning to play an instrument. You can't practice for 10 hours one day and then expect to maintain that skill without touching the instrument for a month. The magic happens in the daily practice, in those small moments when you choose to show up for yourself. Let me give you a practical meditation technique that can start rewiring your brain today. First thing in the morning, before you check your phone or start your day, sit quietly and focus on your breath for just 2 minutes. When thoughts come, and they will come, don't fight them. Just notice them and gently bring your attention back to your breath. This simple practice begins to create new neural pathways of focus and calm. As you get comfortable with 2 minutes, extend it to 5, then 10. The key isn't the length of time, it's the consistency. It's better to meditate for 5 minutes every day than for an hour once a week Why? Because your brain responds to repetition. Each time you sit down to meditate, you're strengthening those neural pathways of focus and presence. Building mental strength is similar to building physical strength. You wouldn't walk into a gym expecting to lift 300 pounds on your first try. You start with what you can manage and gradually increase the weight. The same principle applies to your mental practice. Start where you are, but commit to consistent progress. Here's another powerful practice. Throughout your day, catch yourself when you're running old programs. When you notice yourself falling into a familiar pattern of worry or self-doubt, pause. Take a deep breath. In that pause, you're creating space for new neural connections. Then consciously choose a different response. Maybe instead of worrying about what might go wrong, you focus on what's going well right now. Your brain will resist this at first. That's normal. It's like trying to write with your non-dominant hand. It feels awkward, uncomfortable, maybe even impossible. But remember this, the discomfort you feel is actually a sign that you're creating new neural pathways. That awkward feeling is the sensation of your brain rewiring itself. Think about how many times you've repeated your current patterns. Thousands, maybe millions of times. So of course it's going to take consistent practice to create new patterns. But here's the amazing thing. Your brain is designed for this. It wants to learn, to grow, to create new connections. You're not fighting against your nature, you're aligning with it. Every time you choose to meditate instead of scroll through your phone, every time you pause before reacting, every time you direct your thoughts toward what you want instead of what you fear, you're rewiring your brain. You're literally creating the neural architecture of your future self. And remember, you don't have to be perfect at this. The power isn't in doing it perfectly, it's in doing it consistently. Just like compounds interest transforms small deposits into significant wealth over time, consistent mental practice transforms small changes in thinking into profound changes in being. You know what's fascinating? Most people know exactly what they need to do to change their lives. They've read the books, watched the videos, attended the seminars, but knowing isn't the same as doing. It's like having a recipe but never stepping into the kitchen. The real magic happens when you move from understanding to experience, from theory to practice. Let me tell you a story about transformation. In our research, we've seen people who've had chronic pain for 20 years completely transform their experience in a matter of weeks. Not because they learned new information, but because they finally applied what they knew. They stopped thinking about healing and started experiencing healing. They moved from the mind to the body, from knowledge to practice. The difference between knowing and experiencing is like the difference between reading about swimming and actually getting in the water. You can understand all the mechanics of swimming, but until you feel the water supporting your body, until you coordinate your breathing with your movements, until you experience the buoyancy, you're not really swimming. This is where measurable changes come in. When you start applying what you know, things begin to shift in ways you can actually measure. Your stress hormones decrease. Your heart rate variability improves. Your sleep gets better. Your relationships transform. These aren't just nice ideas. They're tangible, measurable results that show up in your life. I remember working with someone who understood everything about stress management intellectually. They could explain the physiology of stress response, the impact of cortisol on the body, the importance of breathing techniques, but they were still experiencing anxiety attacks. It wasn't until they committed to a daily practice of applying these concepts that things changed. Within weeks, their anxiety attacks decreased. Within months, they were gone completely. The body keeps score. It knows the difference between intellectual understanding and lived experience. When you truly start applying what you know, your body responds. Your genes express differently, your immune system functions better, your brain creates new neural pathways. These aren't just theories. They're biological realities that we can measure and document. Here's what makes this so powerful. Every time you move from knowledge to experience, you're not just changing your mind, you're changing your biology. You're sending different signals to your cells. You're creating new patterns in your brain. You're literally becoming a different person on a biological level. And the best part, these changes compound over time. Just like compound interest in finance, small, consistent actions create exponential results. Every time you choose to apply what you know instead of just thinking about it, you're adding to your transformation account. The returns might not be visible immediately, but this is why personal transformation isn't about gathering more information. It's about applying what you already know. It's about moving from the mind to the body, from theory to practice, from knowing to being. Because when you make this shift, that's when real, measurable, lasting change begins to happen in your life. Let me tell you something extraordinary about the nature of reality. Everything you can see, touch, and experience is made of energy. Your thoughts are energy, your emotions are energy, your intentions are energy. And here's the fascinating part. Science has shown us that all this energy exists in a vast field of infinite possibilities, what we call the quantum field. Think about this. When you look at your hand under a powerful microscope, what do you see? Cells. Look closer. Molecules. Even closer. Atoms. And what are atoms mostly made of? Space. Empty space with tiny particles of energy moving in specific patterns. You, me, everything we can see. We're all patterns of energy dancing in space. So simple, but here's where it gets really interesting. In quantum physics, these particles don't behave like solid objects. They exist as waves of possibility until they're observed. What does this mean for you? It means that your observation, your attention, your intention, they all influence the way energy organizes itself into reality. When you set an intention, you're not just having a thought, you're literally sending a signal into this field of possibilities. But here's the key. It's not enough to just think about what you want. You need to feel it, to experience it emotionally, to connect with it as if it's already happened. Because in the quantum field, time isn't linear like we experience it. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Let me explain how this works in practical terms. When you think about your future self, the version of you that's already achieved your goals, you're not just imagining, you're actually connecting with a possibility that already exists in the quantum field. When you feel the emotions of that future reality, when you embody that future state, you're literally drawing that possibility into your present moment. And this isn't just mystical thinking, it's supported by science. Research has shown that your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. This field changes based on your emotional state. When you generate elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, or inspiration, this field becomes more coherent, more powerful. You're literally broadcasting a different signal into the quantum field. And you create more coherence based on a simple, if you will, repetition practice. And creating from the field means aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the future you want to experience. It means training yourself to stay in elevated emotional states regardless of your current circumstances. Because here's the truth, if you wait for your external world to change before you change your internal state, you'll always be stuck in the same patterns. Science of manifestation isn't about magical thinking. It's about understanding how energy works and using that understanding to create deliberate change. When you maintain coherent heart rhythms, when you generate elevated emotions consistently, when you hold clear intentions, you are creating the optimal conditions for new possibilities to emerge in your life. Think about it like this. Every possible version of your life already exists as a pattern of energy in the quantum field. The version where you're healthy, wealthy, fulfilled, it's already there. The version where you've overcome your limitations, achieved your goals, become who you're meant to be, it exists right now. Your job isn't to create these possibilities, it's to tune into them, to align with them, to draw them into your present experience through your focused attention and elevated emotions. This is why people in our workshops sometimes experience spontaneous healings or sudden breakthroughs. They're not creating something new, they're tuning into a possibility that already exists. They're changing their energy to match the energy of their desired reality. When you understand this, manifestation becomes less about making things happen and more about allowing yourself to receive what's already available in the field. Listen to me carefully. Right now, in this moment, you're standing at a crossroads. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the time is right now. Every moment you wait to begin this transformation is a moment lost forever. The future you're dreaming of isn't going to arrive on its own. It's waiting for you to step into it. You might be thinking, I'll start when I have more time, when I have more money, when things settle down. But let me tell you something powerful. There will never be a perfect time. The perfect time is now, because now is all we ever have. Every great transformation in history started with someone taking action before they felt ready, before conditions were perfect. Taking that first step isn't about having it all figured out. It's about being willing to begin even while you're uncertain. Remember what we talked about with the 1% improvement? You don't need to transform your entire life today. You just need to take one small step in the direction of your dreams. But here's the crucial part. After you take that first step, you need to commit to daily practice. This isn't about motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. This is about commitment. It's about showing up for yourself every single day, especially on the days when you don't feel like it, because those are the days that matter most. Those are the days when you're truly rewiring your brain, truly breaking old patterns. What you might not realize is that your personal transformation isn't just about you. When you change yourself, you change the field around you. Your transformation creates ripples that affect everyone in your life. Think about it. When you become more present, more conscious, more alive, how does that affect your relationships, your work, your community? Every time you choose a new response instead of an old reaction, every time you generate elevated emotions instead of falling into familiar patterns, every time you connect with the quantum field of possibilities, you're not just changing your own life. You're contributing to the evolution of human consciousness. You're showing others what's possible. The world doesn't need more people who are just getting by, who are living on autopilot, who are settling for less than they're capable of being. The world needs people who are alive with possibility, who are willing to do the work of transformation, who understand that personal change is the key to global change. So here's my challenge to you. Don't let this be just another inspiring moment that fades away. Don't let these words become just another piece of knowledge that never turns into experience. Take action right now, not after this speech ends, not after you've thought about it some more, right now. Commit to your daily practice. Set aside time each morning for meditation. Generate elevated emotions regardless of your circumstances. Connect with your future self. Break free from the habits and patterns that have been holding you back. Because if not now, when? If not you, who? Remember, everything we talked about today is already within you. The power to change, the connection to the quantum field, the ability to generate elevated emotions. It's all there, waiting to be activated. You don't need anything external. You just need to make the decision to begin. Your future self is calling you forward. Every possibility you can imagine exists right now in the quantum field. The only question is, are you ready to answer that call? Are you ready to step into those possibilities? Are you ready to become the person you know you can be? The time is now. The person is you. The choice is yours. Make it count.